Have you ever noticed how fear creeps in quietly, yet holds so much power over our choices? It shapes how we speak, what we chase, and what we avoid. But what if fear wasn't something to escape, but something to understand? Today we'll explore how ancient Stoic wisdom offers a calm, grounded way to face fear, not with force, but with clarity. Let's begin. Fear is one of the most natural emotions we experience, but it often controls us more than it should. Whether it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, or fear of the unknown, we let it shape our decisions and sometimes even our identity. But what if we approach fear differently? Not as something to run from, but something to understand, face, and even use. That's where Stoic philosophy comes in. Part 1. Fear is a judgment. According to Stoicism, fear is not about the actual event, it's about how we perceive that event. The Stoics believe that nothing is inherently frightening. It is our judgment that makes it so. If you're afraid of public speaking, losing your job, or what others think of you, it's not the situation that creates the fear, it's the meaning you attach to it. A Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius, practiced this mindset daily. He reminded himself constantly that external events are beyond our control, but how we respond to them is not. So the first step is awareness. Ask yourself, is this fear based on reality or on my interpretation of it? Part 2. Focus on what you can control. Fear thrives when we try to control the uncontrollable. But Stoicism teaches a simple rule. Separate what's within your control from what's not. Your thoughts, your actions, your character, these are within your control. The opinions of others, the future, and random events? Not so much. For example, imagine you're worried about a job interview. You can't control the interviewer's mood or how many people are applying, but you can prepare well, show up on time, and speak with honesty. That's where your energy should go. When we stay focused on our role and let go of the rest, fear begins to lose its grip. Part 3. Voluntary discomfort, a training ground. The Stoics believed in preparing for fear by practicing discomfort. This wasn't about being negative, it was about building mental strength. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, would occasionally eat very simple food, wear rough clothes, and sleep on the floor. He wanted to prove to himself that even if the worst happened, he could survive it. This made fear smaller in his mind. You don't need to go to extremes, but you can do this in your own way. Speak up in a meeting, try something new, face the smaller fears so the bigger ones feel lighter over time. Part 4. Accept what comes. Amor fati. At some point, fear also comes from resisting life itself, wishing things were different, hoping to avoid pain or loss. The Stoics had a different attitude. They practiced amor fati, the love of fate. Instead of fearing what might happen, they embraced whatever came their way as something meaningful, something that could help them grow. This mindset isn't passive acceptance, it's strength. It says, whatever happens, I will make the most of it. When you stop fearing life's changes and start flowing with them, you become mentally unshakable. Let go of the outcome. Another source of fear is our attachment to results. We fear failing a test, being rejected, not getting the promotion, because we're emotionally attached to the outcome. But Stoicism encourages us to shift focus from outcomes to actions. Do your best, act with virtue, and let go of the rest. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you free yourself from the anxiety of things you can't fully control. And when you do that, fear begins to fade. You no longer live at the mercy of what-ifs. Overcoming fear isn't about becoming fearless. It's about becoming stronger than the fear. Stoicism doesn't promise a life without challenges, but it offers a way to face those challenges with clarity and courage. So the next time fear shows up, ask yourself, is this real or just a thought? Then remind yourself of what you can control, and finally step forward with calm, with intention, and with strength. Part 5. Detach from the desire for certainty. One of the deepest roots of fear is our craving for certainty. We want to know how things will turn out, whether we'll succeed, be accepted, or stay safe. But the Stoics knew that life doesn't offer guarantees, and trying to control outcomes only feeds anxiety. Instead, they taught us to find peace in uncertainty. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." When you stop needing certainty, you start embracing life as it is, unfolding, unpredictable, and full of opportunity. Let go of the need to know everything. Focus on doing your best and let the future arrive in its own time. Part 6. Fear and Mortality. The Power of Memento Mori. One of the deepest fears we carry is the fear of death, whether it's ours or of losing those we love. The Stoics face this head-on with a practice called memento mori. Remember that you must die. It sounds harsh, but it's not meant to scare. It's meant to wake us up. When you remember that life is short, your perspective shifts. Petty fears lose their grip. What really matters becomes clear. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Fear loses power when you start living with intention. Part 7. Rehearse the worst. Premeditatio malorum. Another Stoic technique is called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This means imagining what could go wrong, not to dwell on it, but to prepare for it calmly. This practice helps you build mental resilience. You're not caught off guard because you've already met the situation in your mind. You stop being afraid of the unknown because you've made it familiar. Try this before a big event. Visualize every setback and visualize yourself handling it well. Fear gives way to clarity. Part 8. Detach from ego. Fear comes from identity. Often, fear is deeply tied to our ego. We fear rejection because we think it says something about us. We fear failure because we believe it defines who we are. But the Stoics teach us to detach from ego. You are not your reputation. You are not your mistakes. You are your character and your effort. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that it is not the things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. If you let go of ego, fear has less to hold on to. Part 9. Nature's Order. Trust in the bigger picture. The Stoics believe that everything happens according to nature's order. That doesn't mean everything is good, but everything has a reason, a place in the grand scheme of life. When you begin to trust in that, fear transforms. You begin to believe that challenges have a purpose, that setbacks might shape you in ways success never could. This isn't blind faith, it's an inner trust. It says, even if I don't understand it now, I trust that I can learn from it. Part 10. Practice stillness. The antidote to panic. Fear thrives in chaos, but stillness, inner peace, shrinks fear like a flame without oxygen. The Stoics practice stillness not by escaping the world, but by staying calm in the middle of it. In today's noisy world, stillness is a superpower. You can find it in deep breathing, in journaling, or in quiet reflection. The more you practice stillness, the less control fear has. You learn to respond instead of react. Part 11. Identity is chosen, not given. Many fears arise from how we think others see us. But Stoicism reminds us, your identity is yours to define. You are not bound to who you were yesterday or to the labels others give you. When you internalize this, the fear of judgment fades. You realize that no one can dictate your worth but you. The Stoics chose to identify with their values, not their titles or status. So ask yourself, am I living as who I choose to be or as who I fear others expect me to be? Part 12. Pain is not the enemy. We often fear pain, emotional, physical, or mental. But Epictetus taught that pain is part of the human experience, not an evil to be avoided at all costs. What the Stoics feared more than pain was losing their character. So they practiced endurance, courage, and dignity, even in discomfort. Pain is information, it's a teacher, and often it's the gateway to growth. When you learn to face pain, not flee from it, fear has no power. Part 13. Be useful, not perfect. Fear can come from trying to be perfect. We hesitate to act because we fear we won't measure up. But Stoicism isn't about perfection. It's about being useful, virtuous, and present. Perfection is an illusion, but being helpful, that's always within reach. Focus on contribution, not image. Ask yourself, what good can I do today? The moment you shift your focus outward, fear starts to shrink. Part 14. Prepare without paranoia. Some people mistake Stoicism for emotionlessness, but it's not. Stoicism teaches us to prepare wisely, but not with fear, not with obsession. Preparation is empowering when it's grounded in reason. Paranoia is exhausting because it's rooted in fear. You can prepare for challenges without living inside them. Think ahead, act wisely, but don't let tomorrow steal today. Part 15, Embrace the role you're in. Marcus Aurelius saw life as a stage, and each of us as an actor. Our job isn't to control the script, it's to play our part well, with honesty and grace. We fear because we want control, but power comes from embracing your current role. Whether it's challenging, uncertain, or humbling. Say to yourself, this is my role for now, I'll play it with excellence. That mindset turns fear into focus. Part 16, Journal your fears. The Stoics were avid writers. They used journaling not to complain, but to reflect, examine their fears, and build mental clarity. When you write down your fears, you take them out of your head and put them into the light. They become smaller, more manageable. Ask, what am I afraid of today? Why? What's the worst that can happen? And how would I handle it? Your journal becomes your private training ground for courage. Part 17, Watch the stories you tell yourself. Fear often grows from the stories we repeat in our minds. I'm not good enough. This always happens to me. I'll mess it up again. The Stoics challenge these inner narratives. They ask, is this story true or just a habit? You have the power to reframe. Instead of I'll fail, try I'll learn. Instead of they'll judge me, try I'll be proud I tried. Change the story, change the fear. Part 18, Train like a philosopher. The Stoics saw life as a kind of training ground. Just like athletes train their bodies, philosophers train their minds. Every fearful moment is an opportunity to practice patience, wisdom, and self-mastery. Fear becomes fuel, anxiety becomes a signal, and life becomes your gym. You're not avoiding difficulty, you're becoming resilient through it. Part 19, Practice indifference to insults. Fear of criticism is one of the most common, but Epictetus said, if someone insults you and you're hurt, it means you agree with them. That might sound harsh, but it's freeing. You are not the words others say. You're the meaning you give to them. Learn to hear criticism without swallowing it. If it's true, learn from it. If it's false, let it pass. This is strength. Part 20, Be the calm in the storm. Finally, fear is contagious, but so is calm. In a world that often runs on panic, anxiety, and noise, the calm person becomes powerful. When others lose their cool, you remain grounded. When others react, you respond. This doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you lead with clarity. Be the one who brings stillness to the storm. That's real strength. In the end, fear is not your enemy. It's a signal, a teacher, a mirror showing where your mind needs strength. Stoicism doesn't erase fear, but it makes you master of it. With every challenge, you have a choice: to shrink or to rise, to react or to respond. The Stoics chose clarity over chaos, and now you can too. You don't need a perfect life. You just need a disciplined mind. So go out there, face the fear, not recklessly, but fearlessly, thoughtfully, stoically.